The College of Naturopaths of Ontario, the college, was proclaimed in 2015 and regulates the profession in the interest of public protection. Our council is a body of elected Ontario NDs and government-appointed public members which operates under a self-regulation governance model. It is important to remember, however, that self-governing does not mean regulating in the interest of the profession. Council members represent the best interest of the public and the organization, ensuring safe, competent, and ethical naturopathic care for Ontarians. In regulating the profession, we set requirements for entry to practice, establish standards for professional practice, hold members accountable for their conduct and practice, and administer a quality assurance program, for example, the continuing education requirements for currency. We do not set the curriculum for ND programs, nor do we set the requirements for registration in other jurisdictions. Entry to practice examinations under the college assess a candidate's entry-level knowledge, skill, and judgment. These exams may be sat by CNME accredited program graduates and any individual deemed substantially equivalent through the college's prior learning assessment and recognition program. As such, examinations are not designed to test any one CNME program curriculum, but rather those competencies determined by the council of the college as needed for the provision of safe, competent, and ethical naturopathic care. The college is offering this presentation to provide information on the online exam delivery platform being used for the administration of the September 29, 2020 session of the Ontario Clinical Sciences exam. We'll briefly touch on the factors that were considered by the college in deciding to offer the exam online, provide a brief overview of the online exam delivery and proctoring platform, touch on the changes resulting from the online delivery method, address candidate requirements, both general and specific, for sitting the September 29th online exam session, including the online Clinical Sciences Exam Agreement form, and provide information regarding reference resources. Several factors were considered in our decision to offer the Clinical Sciences examination online, the first being the college's inability to run in-person examinations until Stage 3. Specifically Stage 3 for the GTA region of the Ontario government's 3-stage reopening plan for businesses in light of COVID-19, when groups of the size typical of this examination are able to congregate. Secondly, as test center locations are contracted, not owned by our psychometric exam delivery company, time is needed to ensure that all test center locations, each having their own policies and procedures, can and will adhere to the same infection control protocol, such as social distancing seating plans and additional cleaning schedules when administering our exams. Finally, we are still in a pandemic and a lot of uncertainty exists with respect to what the next 6 to 12 months may look like. This option is being provided so as not to have to postpone another exam session. We understand that as new graduates, we are anxious to begin the process to becoming practicing NDs. To offer the examination online, the college will be using our partnered psychometric and exam delivery company, Yardstick Assessment Strategies, exam delivery platform, and online proctoring services through ProctorU, an American online proctoring solutions company that merged with Yardstick in 2019. The online exam delivery and proctoring platform combines trained proctors and AI online monitoring software to allow secure administration of the examination. In registering for the September 29 online exam session, candidates are able to sit the exam from the comfort of their own home, use their own computer or laptop provided it meets technical requirements, which will be outlined later on, and select their exam start time from the options provided when booking in for the exam. In determining whether to sit the online examination, it's important to understand the differences and the limitations resulting from the online delivery format. As the online proctoring is only available for those times when a candidate is actively sitting an exam, the September 29 online exam will run for 4 hours consecutively without the 30-minute break. This is being done to reduce the potential for an exam violation to occur, such as accessing unauthorized materials or devices or discussing exam content with fellow candidates. Bathroom breaks will still be available and will be handled the same way as done during the test center administrations, meaning you will need to request permission from a proctor, and your exam time will continue to run. Unlike the test center administration, when returning to your seat, you will be required to perform a 360-degree scan of your room with your laptop or webcam to allow your proctor to do a visual check of the exam room before you can resume your exam. All candidates are required to review the lists of permitted and restricted items for this exam session, noted in our Clinical Sciences Online Exam Guide, September 2020. Please note that unlike test center administrations, scrap paper and writing utensils are not permitted during the online exam. Instead, a notepad function will be enabled in the exam delivery platform, which can be used for this purpose. Additionally, candidates will not be permitted to use earplugs, earphones, earbuds, or anything of that kind, as these items cannot be verified by the online proctor and therefore pose a potential risk for exam violations to occur. While a French language version of the exam can be made available to those wishing to sit their exam in French, communication with proctors is available in English only for the online session. Exam appeals under the college are limited to an environment or procedural irregularity or perception of undue bias, which A. occurred during the exam, B. was documented on the day of the exam, and C. which the candidate believed negatively impacted their ability to be successful in their exam attempt. Candidate attributed online exam issues, which are issues which could have been prevented or mitigated by the candidate, such as ensuring proper setup and connectivity prior to the exam, do not fall within the criteria for acceptance of an exam appeal. Due to interfacing issues with the exam delivery software, accommodation-based programs such as Kurzweil and similar text-to-speech software cannot be used for the online exam session. Candidates requiring use of this software to sit the exam are asked to contact the college prior to registering for the exam to discuss possible alternatives. Unlike the test center administrations, candidate exam sign-in will be a slightly more involved process. To start, you will log onto your Yardstick account and when prompted to do so, connect with the online proctor via the ProctorU platform. The proctor will be available at the beginning of the session to validate your information, review the exam format, and answer any questions you have related to the system. Please note that proctors cannot answer questions about exam content. You will then complete an automated pre-check process where the ProctorU program will use facial recognition software to complete a visual identity match to compare your picture to your provided government-issued photo ID. Identity is also manually confirmed by your proctor. If the facial recognition software and proctor are unable to confidently confirm your ID, you will be asked to rebook the exam. As an added means of authenticating candidate identification, a candidate keystroke profile must be created by each candidate for analysis by the system. To create the keystroke profile, you will be asked to type out a 140-character paragraph. Finally, all candidates will perform a 360-degree pan of their exam room with their webcam or laptop camera to ensure all physical exam room requirements have been adhered to and no one else is in the room. For the purposes of monitoring exam security, AI software will be running in the background throughout the exam to alert proctors to any changes in the environment which require investigation, such as someone entering the room. Candidate information collected for the purposes of confirming identity and exam monitoring, such as name, photo, and recording of the candidate via the webcam during the exam, will be stored in the US by ProctorU. All data, with the exception of candidate IDs, is stored for up to 2 years in accordance with the terms and conditions set by ProctorU. Candidate ID information is stored for up to 7 days after the exam. All data is encrypted and stored securely on Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud servers. This information is not used by ProctorU for any reasons other than the proctoring of online exams and is not sold to third parties. In agreeing to sit this exam, candidates will be required to review and agree to ProctorU's privacy policy and terms of service. Candidates are responsible for their own ability to connect to the internet to access the Yardstick and ProctorU platforms, and for ensuring they are meeting the specified check-in time for their exam. If connectivity is lost during the exam, or if a candidate's identity cannot be confirmed during the check-in process, the candidate will be required to rebook to sit the exam. Rebooking an examination is the process of obtaining a new exam time for the scheduled exam session due to an inability to complete the exam as scheduled. Rebooking is limited to the criteria previously noted and is not the same as retaking an examination, which is the process of reattempting the exam due to a previous unsuccessful attempt. Issues attributed to the candidate, such as loss of internet connection, which result in the need to rebook the exam, or those candidates whose identity cannot be confirmed, will be charged a rebooking fee of $175 plus HST. Candidates who lose connection because of the ProctorU or the Yardstick platforms will not be charged the rebooking fee. Candidates who arrive late for their exam time are considered a late arrival and will not be granted access to the online exam, nor granted the ability to rebook their exam. Candidates are responsible for connecting on time. Exam answers from partial attempts are not saved. As such, candidates who are sitting a rebooked exam are starting over, not resuming the exam. If needing to rebook an exam, candidates must be available to sit the rebook exam as scheduled by Yardstick, meaning Yardstick will assign you a new time based on their booking availability. Attempts are always made to rebook for the same day. However, in some cases, candidates may be scheduled for the day after the exam, which will be September 30. Other policies and procedures related to the exam, as well as the list of important dates noted on the Clinical Sciences exam schedule page of our website, remain the same. All candidates are expected to refer not only to their prepared online exam guide, but to have also reviewed the Ontario Clinical Sciences and Biomedical Exams Handbook, which lists important information about requesting an accommodation, exam results, and the appeals process. To be eligible to sit entry to practice examinations under the college, including the Ontario Clinical Sciences exam, candidates must have either graduated from a CNME accredited program in naturopathy or have successfully completed the college's prior learning assessment and recognition program, which assesses substantial equivalency for those whose education and training was outside of the accredited programs. Retake candidates who are seeking to make a third and final attempt of the Clinical Sciences exam are required to have first completed any registration committee mandated exam remediation and to have submitted proof of completion to the college. To be considered eligible, candidates must have met the eligibility criteria before registering for the exam. This means you must have completed your program requirements for graduation or exam remediation requirements for retaking the exam prior to registering for the exam. To register for any of the college's entry to practice examinations, candidates must first complete the application for pre-registration. This form is used by the college to confirm your identity, create a profile for current or future applicants, and to identify which registration stream an applicant will enter at the time of initial application for registration. The application for pre-registration form only needs to be completed and submitted once. The college must also be in receipt of a copy of your academic transcript, sent directly from your CNME accredited program at least 1 week prior to the exam day. Like the application for pre-registration, this document is only required once. If registering to retake the exam, you are required to submit another copy of your photo ID. If you require an exam accommodation, your written request and supporting documentation must be sent to the college before the close of exam registration. Information about accommodation is outlined in the Ontario Clinical Sciences and Ontario Biomedical Handbook. Following this webinar, registered attendees will be emailed a copy of the Online Clinical Sciences Exam Agreement. Signed agreements must be sent back to the college before close of exam registration. More information about this agreement will follow on a later slide. Registration to sit the online exam is a two-part process. First, candidates must register and pay for the exam through their online college user account. The link to register will be posted on the Ontario Clinical Sciences exam page of the college webpage under the Upcoming Exams header on the lower part of the page. Exam registration will open at 9 a.m. EDT on August 4th and will close at 5 p.m. EDT on August 27th. Late exam registrations are not permitted. The second step requires registered exam candidates to book an exam time with Yardstick. The booking window will be available to candidates to select an exam start time within the prescribed time frame from 9 a.m. EDT on September 8th to 11:59 p.m. EDT on September 15th. Yardstick will email registered candidates directly with booking instructions by September 3rd. Booking confirmations and final reminders will be emailed to candidates on September 22nd. Please note that failure to complete both steps by the timelines noted for each will result in you being ineligible to sit the exam and a forfeiture of the exam fees paid. The exam must be written in a private and well-lit room. The physical workspace must be completely free of objects, apart from those permitted items noted in the Clinical Sciences Online Exam Guide. Objects and furniture in the room which contain text, such as books, posters, and pictures, must be covered or removed prior to connecting for your exam. To sit the exam, candidates must have a computer or laptop, keyboard, mouse, a desktop webcam or built-in laptop camera, and a microphone and speakers. In addition to the required hardware, candidates must also have an up-to-date version of the Google Chrome web browser, a copy of Adobe Flash, downloaded the ProctorU extension for Google Chrome, and either a hardwired internet connection, which is preferred to ensure continued connectivity, or a wireless connection with a speed of at least 5 megabits per second. Prior to the exam session, candidates are required to review the technical specs and ensure you meet the requirements. Test your computer's capability by conducting a check on the computer or laptop you will be using on the exam day. Have downloaded the required browser and extension on the computer being used for sitting the exam. And finally, confirm that you can and have disabled your browser's pop-up blocker. A LogMeIn rescue applet is needed to connect to your Proctor. This one-time use software can only be installed at your scheduled connection time. A prompt will appear for downloading this program when connecting on exam day. Failing to disable your browser's pop-up blocker will result in not receiving this prompt. Please ensure your physical exam space, hardware, and technical requirements are met well in advance of the exam date. Leaving this until the day prior to or day of may result in your inability to connect to the exam. Issues resulting from a candidate not meeting the outline requirements and needing to rebook their exam can result in being charged additional exam fees. To ensure all candidates understand their responsibilities in sitting the online exam, we are requiring all candidates seeking to sit this session to sign an online Clinical Sciences Exam Agreement, which is an agreement between the college and each exam candidate wherein the candidate accepts their responsibilities and acknowledges the requirements and limitations of the online delivery format. This document will be circulated via email to those candidates who registered for this information session. Please be advised that this is a legal binding document. If found to be in violation of the terms of this agreement, your exam results may be invalidated and the college may pursue other actions. Please read this document carefully before signing and retain a copy for your records. The document must be signed and submitted to the exams department by 5 p.m. EDT on August 27 as part of the document requirements for sitting this exam. Resources have been made available on the college website to provide you with information to assist you through the exam process. You may access these resources by going to the Resources tab and scrolling down to the Examinations section. In this section, you will find the Clinical Sciences Online Exam Guide, the Ontario Clinical Sciences and Ontario Biomedical Examinations Handbook, and the Ontario Clinical Sciences Examination Study Reference Guide. The Clinical Sciences Online Exam Guide has been prepared to provide you with information on the online platform, step-by-step process information such as booking and exam time, technical requirements, and on troubleshooting issues such as rebooking an exam. This guide works in tandem with the Ontario Clinical Sciences and Biomedical Exams Handbook, which outlines exam policies and procedures on items such as requesting an accommodation. Candidates sitting the September 29th exam are expected to have viewed both documents. Information with respect to testable content is available in the Ontario Clinical Sciences Examination Study Reference Guide. If you have questions not addressed in these documents, please contact exam staff either via the exam's email address or directly by phone. The contact information is also noted in our guides and handbooks and noted on the Contact Us page on our website. In closing, we understand that navigating the regulatory landscape post-graduation can at times be daunting. Please remember that college staff are available to answer questions and to clarify information as you move through this process. In turn, as those seeking to become registered Ontario NDs, you are expected to avail yourselves of the information put out by the college for the purposes of informing candidates of exam policies, procedures, requirements, and important dates. While Facebook and other similar social media outlets are great for connecting with friends and family, it can also be a place where misinformation is shared. If you have questions about college exams, please speak to our exam staff directly rather than seeking information through a third party. And finally, remember that it's your responsibility to stay informed. Bookmark relevant pages on the college website, save important dates to your calendar, and retain a copy of any materials provided to the college for your records.